let's just jump into this moment, which you guys found out is taking place literally 30 minutes ago. So he basically sending a text to you guys asking if you're available. Steve is at our Carmel location. We have a studio there.
Nice and comfortable.
I'm actually at my house, just here. And Aubrey is at my office in Binford. And so, hey, a couple things I want to process. I do think at some point we need to introduce the two of you. People know Steve. Steve, you've been on some, and I've been sharing some of your personal stories. So there's some awareness there. Aubrey would be brand new. However, there is a lot of curiosity around Aubrey that we could probably just introduce people to her, and that will be helpful. And then really wanting to talk about the direction of the podcast. So then we can recap the weekend, all those things. But without further ado, Steve, quick bio. Let the fans, our 11 followers.
Yeah, man, I don't even know what a bio is. Like, my name is Steve Tarleton. I am from Topeka, Kansas. So for all the Kansas out there, KU Jayhawks fan for life. I don't carry that banner all the time, but because we always win in basketball, that is. Football, you don't want to really even talk about it. Grew up in Kansas, went to school in Missouri for Bible college, went out to California and as a youth pastor, did that for several years, and then got into kind of production and technology out there at the church that I was at. A friend of yours, Dudley Rutherford, he was the first person I worked for. So I was out there for a decade or so, and then came back to the Midwest, and I've now been at Northview for 10 years. Actually 10 years in 15 days or 12 days, 10 years exactly. And now in the creative director position. So just enjoying it, loving life, loving Indiana for the most part. We're all kind of transplants. I think that's what's really interesting is like none of us are actually from Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's an easy state to bandwagon though.
Yeah, for sure.
So many good things going for us. I'm like, yeah, guys, I know I'm new, but I'm gonna cheer like I've been raised here.
100%.
I feel that too. I feel like you have like fully embraced, like I still hold on to like KU, but you have fully embraced like Indiana sports, like all things Indiana.
Yeah. Well, you hate to say it, but we were in Minnesota and I was raised a Packer fan. So I was just taught properly to hate the Vikings and the Gophers, besides a few glimpses, really didn't have a lot going for them athletically. So here you just have better teams to cheer for. Obviously, IU is just dominating right now, which looks amazing. And then my favorite player in college basketball, Braden Smith, the best point guard in college. And folks, I know there's a place for him in the NBA. I'm a huge NBA fan. NBA scouts would be dumb, just dumb, not to look at this guy. I think he's that good. He's just low key, plays the game right. They went to Alabama. Alabama's another ranked team, could very well be competing for the national championship at the end. And bro, this guy just handled his business, got the job done late in the game too. So easier to root for the teams. I could go on and on, but it's been good. So all that to be said, that's probably a good segue coming out of Steve. Steve is big into sports as well, more like eclectic sports, frisbee golf.
I needed a sport that I felt like I wasn't going to blow out my knee. I think that was the thing. It's like I played basketball in college, and I got really scared of like kind of that mobility ending injury, like a knee or a back or something like that. And so when I first moved to Indiana, I played in actually the Northview church basketball league, and it was like call your own foul. And I was like, I'm not having this. I'm not going out here and having these guys running at my fragile little ankles and knees. So that was kind of the end of my basketball career.
Yeah.
But frisbee golf is huge. So that's something I could talk about for all day long, and no one is interested in it.
Yeah, but I was in a conversation. This has only happened once but I was in a conversation where throwing a Frisbee came up, and I was able to say, bro, I have a buddy who can throw a Frisbee for acres.
A country mile. Oh my.
A country mile. All right, let's segue into Aubrey Beckman. A little bit about your role at Northview.
Yeah, so I'm our experience coordinator, which means I work at our central offices and get to help just all of our girls at our campuses do guest experience really well. So I get to focus on the hospitality side and just equipping them on how to do that well through what people see, hear, experience. Experiences is the big one. So I also get to play a part in all things environments. So Christmas, Easter, at the movies, Mother's Day, Father's Day, what you see is something that I get a part of planning and executing with all of our campuses. So, yeah.
And how long have you been at Northview?
I have been at Northview a little over 3 years now. So from Minnesota originally and moved here. I got to serve with our communications department for a while and then moved into this role about a year ago and absolutely love what I get to do. So yeah, I've been here 3 years, which is crazy.
How does someone go from Minnesota to Indiana?
Oh man, God, really the Lord. I mean, you have a big part of that story for sure. But ultimately, I just felt like the Lord was calling me to really move, honestly, just out of where I was. I grew up in Minnesota, was very comfortable in Minnesota. Minnesota has like a pride, almost like that Texas pride. Like if you're from there, like wholeheartedly, you love Minnesota. And I do, I truly do. So I was like, I'm never going to leave. And the Lord made it very clear that was not going to be my plan a little over 3 years ago. And so I said, okay, well, then you better figure it out, Jesus. And he did. And anywho, long story short, led to a much bigger conversation than I had with you, Pastor. And God just opened the doors for the first time and moved to Indiana like 3 months after that. So, yeah.
Amazing. And we knew each other in Minnesota.
We did.
So let's tell people who Aubrey is. So people are
wait. I
wondering.
have a question.
Yeah.
Like, so you guys are both from Minnesota. Like, I don't think I ever thought about Minnesota before, like, I met you guys. Like, so explain to me, like, what is good about Minnesota? Like, why do you have that, like, Texas pride?
Oh, I got so many. You have some?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, this is going to be obvious and is not the most important, but just to be very clear, it is important. We have probably the best state fair, hands down, in the world. We teeter with Texas, but I'm telling you, the Minnesota State Fair ain't no joke. Midwest people,
great get together.
It is the great Minnesota get together. Like we are planning years in advance for our trips.
Really?
In addition to that, we've got the mall, which the mall's been declining for a while.
Oh, the Mall of America?
Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, it's still like the ultimate mall experience.
Correct.
Full amusement park and everything you can think of. We are a Delta hub. Probably one of my biggest challenges with Indianapolis is it doesn't matter where I'm going. I literally have to check every single airlines. You can't just be loyal to one.
Right.
And you're taking so many connecting flights and layovers. You just can't get a direct flight anywhere.
Yeah.
So we did have a good airport.
We do.
Obviously, the people in Minnesota are hilarious and just awesome.
Minnesota nice is real.
Minnesota nice is real, which is our way of labeling our passivity. And then we're the land of lakes. Mm-hmm. Everyone always like, how'd you live up there with all that snow? I'm like, you're not asking the right question. Yeah. How did we live up there with all those lakes? All those fresh bodies of water down here. You got these reservoirs that they send out notices of, hey, you probably don't want to swim for the next 2 weeks. And you're like, what does that even mean? What are we swimming in? So there's some good things there. Better pizza for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
The food is good.
But they do have the Vikings and
go Vikes.
They got the Twins and the Wolves, though. Twins and Wolves are on that list.
Yeah, they're there.
And Minnesota is technically still the Midwest.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense because we're definitely north.
Yeah.
But we are called the Midwest that I'm aware of. I've always been told I'm Midwestern.
Yeah.
But you'll hear the accent the more you listen every once in a while. It'll come out.
So we met Aubrey back when Aubrey was underclassman in high school.
Yeah, I was 16.
16, and people are always asking us, hey, who's the girl who's always with you guys? Sometimes she's in like family photos, and it's like she was there on Thanksgiving, she was there on Christmas. Like, hey, who's this other girl who has some features like Kristen, the dark hair, and
mine's fake, to be fair, but yes.
Apparently Aubrey is a blonde.
I am.
Are you?
I'm naturally
no
blonde.
Way.
Yes.
She's got dark hair.
I didn't know that.
Someday I'll bring a photo that will traumatize us all, because I've had black hair since I was a sophomore in high school. So
whoa,
well over a decade I've been rocking the black hair. So
man, I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
So should I just give the cliff notes a little bit of your story, then you can pepper in?
Do it. Yeah.
So Aubrey has wonderful parents.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to mom and dad, just amazing parents who for a season were definitely battling some challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And so the two were separated, both alcoholics, both in and out of rehab, a very common thing. And so Aubrey was homeless, living couch to couch when we met her as a 16-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. And so her and Kristen actually hit it off sitting in the back of a bus on a random last-minute youth event that was taking a group of students to a water park, and our youth pastor's wife went into labor. And so Kristen and I had to be the chaperones for the water park. And that's how Kristen met Aubrey. Mm-hmm. And long story short, Aubrey has always been a part of our family ever since. And people will ask, and we never have always known how to answer it best. And so I would say Aubrey is not my daughter, but she is my kid. And there's no question I am second in line that if something were to happen to her father, I get to be the one honored to walk her down the aisle. Love Aubrey. She is definitely a part of our family. Our children all see her as their oldest sister. And what is amazing is when Kristen met Aubrey, she wasn't a Christian. Mm-hmm. So Aubrey gives her life to Christ, eventually invites her mom to church. Mom gives her life to Christ, and then Aubrey scoots mom out eventually. So mom would come to the 9 o'clock, and Aubrey started inviting her dad to the 11 o'clock. Oh, wow. And they both get saved. God starts to work in their lives. And then fast forward after being separated, mm-hmm. I think for 13 years, mm-hmm. Bill re-proposed on the church platform to Aubrey's mom.
Wow.
And they are now, 7 years sober?
Yeah, they'll be 8 on January 1st.
Which is just incredible. And so we've never really have openly, publicly talked about our relationship with Aubrey, mainly because we've always wanted to honor Bill and Kay and just the wonderful parents that they are, especially now in this season with Aubrey. And so super proud of them and their testimony. But Aubrey she's our kid, but it's like we were like teenage parents.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to experience the toddler stages or whatnot. But we do know raising a high school kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it. I mean, they remember a lot of the early things more than I do. I was just crazy and going through it. I was wild too. So I mean, for your first kid to deal with, I was probably not the pick of the litter. But yeah, truly, I was walking through my relationship with the Lord and found you guys. And then honestly, I just never left. That was kind of the deal. Like I'm in there, I'm in it. And yeah, I got to experience two dual parents. Like I got to have you guys teach me a lot of things I didn't know. And then to now walk through a lot of redemption with my parents. It's just really cool and special that God has now doubled my portion. Honestly, when for a while I didn't have much of either. So yeah, I'm just super grateful. Love Team Johnson. I'm in Team Johnson, Awesome.
And it's good to say that because I'm sure people have already been like, why is she sitting at his desk in front of their family photos? And it's just a space she's always in with us. She knows where we go.
Is there, I mean, you always ask this when you find somebody that's close to the senior pastor, but what is the story? Like, what is like the one story where you're just like, one time, like, one time CJ was on the roof, like trying to fix something, or like, we got to have the story, because I feel like we need ammo at some point.
Oh man, there's probably so many just unique moments. My favorite was one time okay, here's something to know. He does not like being scared. So if you guys want to get him, start hiding in places.
I love that.
Secretly, this was like a part of our, like, I mean, this was probably a few years ago that it became like prevalent that this was a problem within our dynamic. And anywho, he had scared me really bad one day at the church, because where we were, I used to work at the church in Minnesota as well, but you would have to walk through the auditorium to get back to where he was. And so sometimes we just wouldn't turn the lights on because it's just a clear, straight shot.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Hey, Aubrey, I need you to come get me come here really quick." And I was like, "Okay, sounds good." So I walk, I don't turn the lights on, very normal for me. And he comes flying out of the dark. And he loves to scream my name. Honestly, even one of the first days I was here, he like walked up and screamed my name really loud in the office, like when we were trying to be like low key. And anywho, but one time I hid in the closet and I got him really good. And I wouldn't say it was probably his holiest moment in general, but he's pretty unique. He's always doing something. He loves yard work. He's always in the yard, whether that's he's fixing it or breaking it, who knows? But definitely.
I'm great at the demo side of landscaping. Like, bro, you need me to cut down a tree. You need me to make a mess in a productive way. I can do it.
Yeah.
You need me to make it pretty. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna need some additional help.
Honestly, just the handyman stuff across the board. I remember when you called me about how many lights you had in your house.
Oh my goodness. So a pet peeve of mine is I can't stand when people just don't commit to a light bulb. So you walk through their house and you're like, why so many different? Just commit, pal. It's just one light. And so we move here, and so I'm like going through the house, and I've turned into my dad, who used to always harp about leaving the lights on. And I'm just going through the house making a list of how many lights do we have. And I was stressed out about it. We definitely are developing some better disciplines in the house here of get those lights turned off. But yeah, I was, well, once you decide, hey, I'm going to commit to a light bulb, which is an important conversation in life, you start to realize there's a lot of options. You got, and I went for initially like pure white.
Oh,
like, I turned my house into a tanning bed.
Terrible.
I would have burnt after a week if I would have committed to the whole house.
Oh man. Actually, Aubrey, you live now where we used to live in the same place where you did. And there was, going into that place, there was a townhome on the corner, and the whole house was the blue, like really blue white lights. And I just feel like I could never like live in that. I feel like it would be kind of like a hospital or something. I don't know how anybody goes with the blue white lights and like keeps their sanity. No. And I'd be curious, like where people lean on the light bulb conversation, because I'm a warm light person all the way.
I am a 65 lumen soft white LED Edison bulb.
See, the 6500, those are the cool ones. Those are the ones that are a little more blue. I couldn't do it.
Oh, I'm a warm girl, but I also will put all the lights on in our house. It's my roommate's worst nightmare. I like everything lit up all the time.
Yeah.
Well, guys, so I do think this format is going to be better. I've been wanting to introduce Aubrey to the conversation. I do think I'm always going to be better. I keep being asked, do a podcast. And I'm like, I need someone to talk to. If I'm just staring down the barrel of a camera, that's going to come across terrible and be life-sucking for me. But the two of you are fun conversations, so welcome, and appreciate you guys making the time to do this. The name has been a conversation, and I will say, like, okay, what's the goal? What's going to be the podcast? At one point, the team had it laid out. Hey, you could do 4. I'm like, 4 podcasts. Like, how do you? So where we have landed is we have the Pastor's Corner, which is for the Northview Network. And so love that, teaching leadership and discussing ministry philosophy and theology with pastors primarily. And then we have this, which up until this point has been referred to as the recap.
Yep.
which isn't terrible. We've talked about keeping it in terms of recapping the weekend message. I think it's broader than that, or at least I want it to be broader, where, yes, let's talk about the weekend message, but I also just like talking about the week.
Yeah.
And there's things taking place that always have my attention in terms of culture and media and sports, music, things I'm reading, and things that are just happening from week to week. So you can recap that. I will say, when you call it the recap, though, everybody is assuming, hey, we're going to jump into a conversation on the sermon.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I would love to do that, but we should talk about the fact that IU is still undefeated. We should talk about the fact that the Fever are literally game 7 away from the NBA Finals with half the starting lineup on the injured reserves list, and they're out there getting it done. So I need to be able to talk, especially about sports, and probably even more specifically about the game of basketball. So I think we need to call the podcast Nothing But Net. And I just think we need to root it in. Like, guys, like, if you're telling me, hey, CJ, you have to do a podcast, I'm like, all right, well, I like talking about basketball. I like talking about my faith and everything in between. And I think when you follow Christ, it's all gain. It's all a net profit. It's the riches of Christ that we get to experience. Grace, right? GRACE.
Yeah.
God's riches at Christ's expense. So it's all net. And so I do want to try it. We're going to even post this conversation in real time. So we'll probably get some feedback like, hey, the idea is trash. But let's go ahead and give it a shot for a while.
So I do love that, because we did talk about that early on. It's interesting when you start doing research on some of these things, how many things come up with the same name. And I always think like there's nothing new under the sun. Like, so I like went into Apple Podcasts. I'm like, all right, Nothing But Net. Yeah, that would be really cool. And I was like, well, crap, there is a lot. Oh, I don't know if we can say crap on the podcast.
I think crap's okay. Is there a Nothing But Net podcast already?
Oh yeah. There's like 7 of them.
Are they saying nothing like IN?
I don't remember. I would have to look it up again. But they're all sports podcasts. There's no like religious podcast called Nothing But Net. They're all like strictly sports podcasts.
It may be a slightly crowded market.
We got to stand out.
We got next. Nothing But Net. We're going to call it. Yeah. So I do think we've been on here for a little bit, and I do think jumping in and talking a little bit about the weekend, the Roman series, we're coming to an end. On the study this week is the final 38th week of the book of Romans. And yeah, I wanted to time it to see, hey, how long would it take to do a public reading of the book of Romans? And so I was like, well, I'm just going to play the YouVersion audio feature and time it, because this guy reads it perfect. So how quickly can you do it while reading it perfect? And I almost got done, and then some calls came through on my phone and messed it up. So all that to be said, I think I was at chapter 7, and it was like 25 minutes in.
Oh, man.
Which, think about that. If you were to, in the original time, Phoebe shows up with Paul's letter, how the church would gather is they would gather and they would read these letters.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, because most American Christians would not be able to sit through the entire reading of Romans the way the original churches would have been like clamoring to like get there, like read it.
Right.
No fluff, just read it all the way through. And, but that was, insightful, just how long that took. I almost thought, man, I think you could turn that into a ministry initiative, like almost like a 5K mates theology, like do the Roman run and see if you can just in one sitting read through, the book of Romans out loud in front of somebody.
Yeah.
That's the Roman run. But
I just did a quick calculation because I think that's interesting. How long do you think you've talked about Romans this year in service? I've got a number, so I want you to guess what the number is because I actually have a number. Time, yes.
Oh, I have no idea. So let's see. 37 weeks so far. I don't know. 120 hours?
Well over.
So I got 5,130 minutes. If you average 45 minutes for a message, which you probably average about 45, and 38 weeks. So I gave you the benefit of the extra week already. So 5,130 minutes, 85.5 hours you have been spending talking about Romans, and that's just like from the platform.
We've been listening to you for over 3 days.
Oh, and it's been exhausting. Like I said, I thought it was 120 hours, which is, people should just always know, the optimist in me, I'm a terrible guesstimator. If you ask me to like guesstimate, like if I go to your kid's game and you're like, hey, how many points do you think my kid had? I'm probably going to give him an extra 6 points.
At least.
And, but 85 hours, we had to, part of my review was, I get evaluated in terms of like teaching communication or whatnot. And one of the things that we documented was in 2024, I think it was, I had taught 82 30-minute or longer messages that were unique messages.
Yeah.
So not including like the weekend where it's, hey, I got Saturday and then 2 on Sunday. But it was just things like, hey, staff chapels and network events and retreats. And so my word count. And then, but I do think I'm okay with it. I actually enjoy all the conversations I get to be a part of. I'm more of an out loud processing, audible creator than someone who can sit down and type anything.
Yeah, I kind of run out of words after a little while. Like, so there's a point where I'm just like, okay, I've talked a lot today, and we have tons of meetings here at the church, and my wife knows, like, when I get home, like I've kind of tapped out, and I'm generally an extrovert. Like, generally, I like love like hanging out with people and love joking and everything like that. But man, when you like talk that much, man, I just tap out. So I can't even imagine how much you are talking. Not only, preaching, but like getting into meetings and all that stuff throughout the week. Man, I couldn't do it.
Well, and it's like real thoughts. Like, I'm chatty, but I don't have a lot to say. There's not a lot. There's no point to what I'm saying most of the time. So, I mean, props to you. There's always meat there.
That's hilarious.
Mine are dry bones over here.
I think you've got more to offer. I was thinking about this last weekend. Obviously, I mean, we talked about how to deal with divisive people in the church, which is, to be frank, I mean, over the years you teach on things. I've taught on like unity, and I've taught on things like gossip and how those play into church health. But I've never specifically just focused my attention on, but divisive people.
Sure, yeah.
People who are creating fractures, and it definitely felt different. I would say in a good way, but it felt different in terms of, I don't know, what do you guys think about the weekend? That as a conversation was unique in terms of how it felt compared to the others.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, my toes hurt, if that makes sense. I'm like, there was a moment you were talking, I'm like, he's stepping on my toes. And there was somebody sitting behind me who said the same thing. I was like, oh, you're getting a little too close. I think the way that you laid it out was great, because I do think when you're like, oh, let's talk about divisive people in the church, again, you're not usually thinking about yourself or how you create division or, Like you can be like, oh, well, sometimes I like gossip. Like, you know, or you'll come up with these things of like, oh, this is where I think that I could be a fracture. But then when you lay out the signs to pay attention to, or the way you said it, which was alarming, when you're being pastored by Satan, you know, it's like pretty scary to identify yourself in so many areas. You're grateful for the self-awareness, but it is a tough pill to swallow. So yeah, I think walking away from this weekend as someone who deeply loves the bride, who, I mean, I serve and work for the bride of Christ. Like that is my thing. The fact that I could identify myself in any of them, I'm walking away with some bruised toes and just some high self-awareness. But then there's still the piece of you. It's like, and I'm going to send this message to this person, you know, like, but I think it's an important conversation. I think, especially in the climate that we're in, I mean, we need to be having these self-awareness conversations because every conversation we're having is about somebody else or why you have an opinion because somebody else has the opinion. And so, I mean, I really appreciate it, but I'm also if you're talking grace and truth, I lean truth. And so I appreciate the realness. We need it. We need honesty. So
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, so I was going through the Message translation. And again, obviously chapter 16 is connected to chapter 15. It's all one consecutive thought. The challenge in every message is you're approaching, all right, we're coming into this conversation on divisive people, but it is flowing out of the conversation about Christ-like maturity. Mm-hmm. And so it's this kind of connection point that's coming with some affirmation, but obviously some correction as well. In chapter 15, verses 14 through 16, Eugene Peterson, awesome legend of a guy. Here's how he says it. And I thought, man, this just reads better and probably is more insightful in terms of the dynamic that is being felt or should be felt with these conversations. Paul writes, personally, I've been completely satisfied with you. Sorry, I'm going to start that over. Personally, I've been completely satisfied with who you are and what you are doing. You seem to me to be well motivated and well instructed, quite capable of guiding and advising one another. So, my dear friends, don't take my rather bold and blunt language as criticism. It's not criticism. Here's the key statement in this part. My dear friends, don't take my rather bold and blunt language as criticism. It's not criticism. I'm simply underlining how very much I need your help in carrying out this highly focused assignment God gave me. This priestly and gospel work of serving the spiritual needs of the non-Jewish outsiders so they can be presented as an acceptable offering to God, made whole and holy by God's Holy Spirit. And so Paul's saying, hey, I'm coming to you saying some very bold and blunt things. Mm-hmm. Don't take it as criticism. Just take it as me saying, I can't do this all by myself. And this is so vitally important that we all link arms, we all play our part, and we do whatever we can because it's a highly focused assignment. And I would hope this weekend would definitely spark some humility in our church. I think that's what truth ultimately accomplishes. However, I do think to take offense to that in church spaces is where sometimes people maybe miss it. Mm-hmm. It's not being done in a critical spirit. It's not coming from a place of just irritation or anger. It's just coming as a sincere yet emphatic plea. Like, hey, would you help with this? This is a big deal. And I think that's hopefully the heart that came across in the message is, church, would you help with this? And Paul's saying one of the number one ways you help is by playing your part in maintaining a healthy church family.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think just, you know, when the Bible says he disciplines those he loves. Like, I think most of the time when you get a critique like this, you're like, oh, you don't like me. You kind of hate me because you think I'm a complainer. Like, I've got my list here. Complainer, I'm suspicious, I'm bitter, I'm isolated, like I have outrage. You're like, oh, you hate me, and that's why you're coming after me with all these things. But it's actually, no, this is out of love that we want these things to be called out. And that's so hard, because I think we all kind of have main character energy, and we're all like, oh man, everything is about me. And so when it is like saying, well, it is about you, but it's not about the qualities that you want to put out there for everyone to see. It's about the things that you're probably hiding, or the things that are like really pervasive in your life. Like, those are the things that we need to talk about a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, let's go through that list of just the 5 reasons why. You know, so Aubrey, obviously you mentioned there's things in there that most people, being honest with themselves, walked away thinking, I'm guilty of several.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman, actually the first conversation off the platform Sunday at the 9 a.m. guy walks up to me, and I know this gentleman, like a world-class guy, and walks up to me and is like, Pastor CJ, I'm guilty of all of them. And I just thought, dude, that's why you're so godly. You're a class act, but you just have like that receptive spirit of like, God, if there's anything in me, you know. So let's look at this list. Number 1, a church should have this conversation about dealing with divisive people, because Satan's strategy is subtle, not spectacular.
Yeah.
Give me some of just initial thoughts.
Yeah, the thing that pops in my head with that is that, like, whenever we say Satan's attacking us, it's like, oh, I got a flat tire, or, you know, or like all these big things that, like, oh, I got sick, or I got a bad diagnosis or something like that. Satan's like attacking me. But often it is the more like, it's not those things. It's, oh, I had this conversation, I gossiped a little bit, I got upset about something that, you know, that I blew out of proportion. Because we're always looking at the bigger things, and oftentimes I think the thing with things that are really challenging to our faith, those actually drive us more towards God, but the little things are the ones that like start prying us away.
Yeah, it's because it's not obvious. I think that we in so many ways think that Satan's going to be obvious because we make him so large in like his approach, like, oh, he's evil and he's doing all this stuff. Like, so we think that the larger attacks are just more of who his character is, without recognizing, like, no, it's actually, it's subtle because he has more influence in small spaces than he does in big ones. And so we lend an ear into smaller spaces than we do in big ones. You know, we, in big moments, someone has, you know, a diagnosis, like, we go to Christ. We don't give Satan credit first. And so he doesn't have as much space to work in that, because our faith is so much larger in big things. But in subtle things, we don't give God an ear to all the time. And so I think Satan's like, oh, this is the easiest way for me to get into this moment, because they didn't give God a credit for that. And so yeah, he's sneaky that way, because we're not aware of just like his minuscule presence in everything. So.
Yeah, you know, division, it rarely begins with a heretic. It begins with a whisper, right? And if the church doesn't expose the enemy's tactics, eventually the enemy starts to disciple people in the church in silence. And I do think that is where these conversations can equip believers to recognize when spiritual sabotage is taking place, and correcting it before it becomes spiritual wildfire. You know, people just go off the rails. And I do think it has to do with that whole tug of war idea at the very beginning, understanding spiritual warfare, the fact that there is a spiritual dynamic. That's something that you're just going to have to bump into. And I think it's spooky and weird for a lot of people to discuss those things. And we tend to be very dismissive over things we think are strange. But if you can sit in it for a second, you'll realize, no, the more you think about it, there is a dynamic there, very much a spiritual one. And so we talked this weekend about the game of tug of war, and how on one side you have love, truth, peace, hope, faith, grace, wisdom, joy, compassion, and courage. And then on the negative side, you have fear, deceit, anger, pride, jealousy, despair, confusion, bitterness, selfishness, and temptation. And so almost every single one of us deals with every single thing on both of those lists.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is just learning to constantly be assessing which is having the greatest pull. And yeah, it's never something that gets your attention. It's always something subtle. Number two, reason why a church should have this conversation about dealing with divisive people is because unity is the church's greatest evangelistic tool. And Jesus, he tied the credibility of the gospel to the unity of his people. That would be in John chapter 17, verse 21. So this weekend I said, and what I want you guys to kind of weigh in on is, I believe that if unity is evangelism, then division is anti-evangelism. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean that is like, you just see over the years just how the church has split ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we get so worried about what culture is going to do to the church, you know, and we don't think about, no, what is the church going to do to the church? What are church people going to do to the church? And yeah, I really do feel like if the world is seeing us and we're just picking each other's apart, there's no real reason to become a Christian, because that's what the world does too. So why are you any different, except you have different ideals, different beliefs, but you act kind of the same way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing more unattractive. Like, think of it even just within like friendships or relationships. No one's trying to go into the friend group that's always fighting. No one's trying to go into the friend, like, no one is attracted to that. And so, and the people that can control that are the people within that group. Like, you can't be like, oh, these are like my best friends in the entire world and I love them so much. Yeah, we fight all the time and we don't actually respect one another's opinions, and we don't believe in what they believe, you know, like, and so it's like, oh, but do you truly like love and respect them the way that you want us to believe? Like, why would I want to be in that camp? And so I think the church has done a really good job at making people not want to be involved sometimes with that. But then on the flip side, you experience the community. Like, you know, I get to work with guest experience. And so we get to talk a lot with people like, well, what made you come back to Northview? Like, what made this become your home? And I love the people. People just love each other. They're so kind to one another. And it's very clear when you see healthy community and healthy unity, and you want to be a part of that, because that's ultimately what we all are desired to crave is just unity and friendship and respect with one another. But both in the world and in the church, no one's trying to go to the group that don't actually like each other. Like,
yeah,
nobody's really trying to be a part of that.
And I think the two words in that statement, unity, is the greatest evangelistic tool of the church. I think there's obviously the conversation around unity. Why is unity so precious? Why is it one of the overarching, you could argue, top 5 central themes of Scripture would be unity? It's on that short list. And so why is God so for unity? And why does he use some of his strongest language against anything that combats, disrupts, and reflects really a Luciferian behavior that you see all the way traced back to the very beginning in the garden, that is rooted in suspicion, rooted in fear, rooted in pride. And, you know, and that's where he's making that spiritual connection. So you can focus on the unity side of it. And then you have to focus on the evangelistic side of it. What about unity is evangelistic? Maybe another way of saying it would be, what about unity makes somebody curious about giving it a shot for themselves? And I think unity is our greatest evangelistic tool in the moment because people are exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Exhausted. You don't even, the reason why so many non-Christians are showing up to church right now is they're exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah.
With kind of the status quo, disruptive, strained approach to life where nobody is truly known.
Mm-hmm.
And in a vibrant, life-giving community, people have very surfacey relationships, and they are maintained by tiptoeing around the potholes and landmines of our society. So I think people are longing for it. And I do think when we model it,
Mm-hmm.
it gets their attention and they think, wait a second, that's different.
Yeah.
And I truly do believe biblical community is different than anything else that the world can offer. Number 3, a church should have this conversation because culture rewards outrage, suspicion, and division. The modern world disciples people hourly through algorithms optimized for anger, optimized for fear, optimized for agitation.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned rage baiting. Just curious, give me an example of a time on social media, well, no, just life in general, that you felt you were being rage baited.
Man, and that's a every day. And I'm trying to think of one specifically.
I was watching, this is like so irrelevant, but it literally happened to me last night. I was on TikTok, as us young folks do, sit and scroll. And, a lot of like musicians and artists come out with new songs and they like show their friends in the car. And it's like this whole thing about how they release their music, which is just really interesting to me. And there's this one song that this girl's releasing, and it's a secular song, but it's just about her life. And her friends was reacting to it and was just like completely not acknowledging like her feelings, like pretty much was saying like what she was saying in the song wasn't true. And I was getting agitated. Now I'm like a justice girly, like, so I want to defend everyone and everything all the time. And so I'm sitting there like, this is the worst friend. She has better friends. She needs to get rid of. I don't know this girl. I don't know this song. I definitely don't know these people, but I was watching myself get agitated. And so I went into the comments and it was like, this is clearly rage bait. And I was like, I fell for it. I just fell for it. And then there was another video of her and her friend. But videos on social media just try to rile you up, and they do. That's the thing. I'm like, Lord, you better give me a more soft spirit because I cannot be mad about these people that I do not know.
Oh man.
Yeah,
there's like a local politician that I just saw something on Facebook for. And the funny thing is, like, there was a video. I didn't watch the video. Like, I jumped straight into the comments to see what people were like going back and forth about and watching the debate. And I think that's where I see it in me. Like, there's a lot of times where I will just jump to the comments and then I'll go down this rabbit hole of like, oh man, you're an idiot and you're an idiot. And like all the stuff. I'm like, why am I? Because actually I'm having a physical reaction. Like my heart's beating faster. My head's getting warm. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I'm angry or just getting some adrenaline from it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why do I do that? Because sometimes I don't even care about the thing. It's just like, oh, but the controversy over it, like, okay, I'm in the comments.
Yeah. I would say right now, I don't think I'm being so much rage baited as I am being anxiety baited.
Yeah.
Which is probably in the same bucket of just yuck for your life. But I somehow got in my feed these cave divers.
Oh gosh, yeah, you sent me that video, and that I immediately spiked.
Are you able to pull one of these up?
Oh my gosh, let me see.
Basically, what these people do is they like crawl into the most tightest slivers and cracks, and I can't look away. So I'm like watching these, and these guys are like literally inching their way through, face being scraped by the rocks, getting stuck. And losing oxygen and trying not to panic so they don't use up all the air in the caves. And I find myself getting like so anxious. But I just keep watching them. Do you have any?
Yeah, hold on. Let's see here.
So
There it is. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's
It's
it.
the craziest thing, but me and about 180,000 others are following this stuff.
Can you guys see that?
You got to go big.
Like, it just got dark, but
oh my gosh.
Look at it. We need to figure out the reaction.
And for why?
I mean, and this guy's just talking.
It's just casual. There's for what reason?
I'm gonna try to find. I'm gonna find a good one on YouTube. Listen to what he says. Go ahead and turn it up. He gives like he gives like a life lesson that actually kind of hits.
Like, why?
Listen, he's gonna explain it.
Okay, so I'm coming up under this, and if I get stuck,
Yeah, my heart's beating faster.
walk with me, such that I can pop up some of these knuckles, which made it very hard to get into. Now I have to go slow. That's that knuckle. I'm gonna be shirtless shortly here.
Warning, the actions and stunts performed in this video were done so by professionals. Do not enter a cave without a cave tour guide.
Definitely don't plan to.
It's okay. I can get through it. A lot of people ask why we do this. And you're just never going to get a sufficient answer. Why do you wake up in the morning?
I mean,
You're just never gonna get a sufficient answer. I just can't really live like that. I need an answer and a reason for why I'm doing it. A sufficient one.
Rightfully so. No, the other hard thing about these rage bait videos is I'm getting caught by all these AI videos. I'm having a harder and harder time telling if something is a real video or if it's an AI video.
I get duped all the time.
All the time. I'll show Yikes, which is my roommate, and I'll be like, Yikes, did you see or did you hear about this thing? And she'll be like, Ari, is it AI? And I was like, well, I don't think it's AI. And then sure enough, I find out it is. I'm like, so even my hopes are getting put up by these AI videos.
that just means that you're too old, because we're supposed to, like, the kids are able to spot the AI right away, and it's like us, us old people that are just like,
believe what we
oh my goodness, did you see that dog with 5 legs? And
The ones that get me are the fake sports broadcast and press conferences.
oh yeah.
So I'll see a video. I'm like, oh, about time. So LeBron announced his
Yes.
and they're like, what? He didn't announce his retirement. I'm like, yeah, I just seen a video of him talking about his retirement. And yeah, so it's funny because now I find myself doing this with ESPN as well as Fox and CNN. Is about 10 years ago, people were just so exhausted with what they felt was fake news on both sides, Fox and CNN. They're like, it's so biased, you can't trust it. And now, because there's so much fake news out there online, now you find yourself thinking, okay, I better pull up Fox and CNN and see if they're talking about it. And that's how you're almost fact checking yours.
Mhm.
It's using them as the baseline that we once were questioning is, so that's funny to me. But I do think there is clearly a lot of thought and strategy into really understanding human behavior.
Yeah.
And it is being baked into technology, but long before an understanding of human nature was a technological thing, it has always been a spiritual thing.
Mhm.
And Satan knows how to bait us the same way. And, culture rewards it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Did you say, was it a couple weeks ago you talked about the attention economy? Was that you? Just that idea of like
Saturday night, they always get extra credit.
Yeah, just that idea that everything is trying to grab your attention,
Mhm.
and talk about the subtle tactics of Satan. It's just like, can I grab your attention from this and put it on this? And we have more of that now than ever before. Things that are trying to like pull our attention toward things that don't matter. The rage bait, My favorite is like, I love playing games on my phone, and they always have the commercials for the games, and it's just like, stack these things on top of whatever. But whatever the video is, it'll always like stack the last one wrong so that it falls over. Because then you want to fix it. You're like, oh my gosh, it's so tense. So now I got to download that game so that I could fix the thing that the video didn't fix.
Right.
Oh yeah, so that's a whole nother conversation. There's rage baiting, and then there's sales funnels.
Yes.
And I'm like, here, my goodness, I'm in the toilet bowl of this funnel, and
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if this is bad. I will do the thing all the way up until actually making the purchase. I just like seeing the onboarding process of like, hey, how do they do it? You know what? And so I will go through the funnel, but they definitely get you. I was going to say, in terms of the outrage, suspicion, division, kind of rewarding in culture. You mentioned the attention economy, and there's probably some, I would call it the double-sided nature of attention. So on one side of the coin is, what are the things you give attention to? What are the things that get your attention? And on the other side of the coin is, what are the things you do to get attention? Right? So what do I give attention to? And then what do I try to earn in attention? And we are being programmed to earn attention, to get people to look at us, listen to us through outrage, suspicion, and division. And that's why you have people acting so recklessly relationally. It's just like, because you're doing it for attention now. And you figured out that it kind of works. If the church doesn't counterform people intentionally, the culture will deform them accidentally. The church doesn't counterform people intentionally, the culture will deform them accidentally. Sometimes it's like a car in neutral, it only rolls to the lowest point. Never rolls up a hill. It needs some intentionality. Number 4, the church should have these conversations because hidden attitudes eventually become public behavior. Riff on that. Bitterness, gossip, pride, offense, and suspicion, all of them, they don't stay internal. They eventually leak into the life of the church. And public behavior is the byproduct of hidden, fostered, and held on to attitudes. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think even when we go through the gauntlet of the things that we pay attention to, like most of those feelings didn't start outwardly. And so, you talk about complaining, you talk about suspicion, you talk about bitterness and isolation. A lot of those things, maybe your inner circle knows about it first. And your inner circle I think I've seen that a lot, where it's a hidden attitude. You bring it to your inner circle knows this thing about you. And then you're encouraged by those things, or you're validated by those things. You just need validation once to say the story twice, you're never going to tell a bad story just once. Like if someone gives you a reaction or laughs or like thinks this is the best, or someone else brings it up, you just watch something that might have been a formed thought, or maybe something that just happened to you, a funny story personally once. All of a sudden now it is this big blow up of something much larger than I think even you intended it to be in the first place. I also see, like, I used to be, and I probably still am like this in some ways, like the more I say what I say, the more I double down onto what it was. Like, you share your opinion one time, it's like, okay, this is like kind of an opinion, I don't have a lot of thought. Well, now if I've said it 16 times, well, I'm doubling down on this as my belief, whether or not I have any more information than I did before. And so we're just watching a lot of like small things, hidden thoughts, hidden intentions, become very public, because we also, again, when you go back to 3, culture is rewarding it. People are validating it. And something can only be in the dark for so long before light gets brought to it anyway. That's why day and night exists. And so, yeah, I think it's something that we all have to be very tender to and very aware of. I think when you talk about the 20 signs, it's like, okay, well, if you've had an inkling of that, know that you've probably publicly performed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I always will say, probably once or twice a year, in regards to giving, hey, if you at all feel pressure, manipulated, if you're in any way irritated while giving today, do all of us a favor, not just yourself, save your money,
Right.
do all of us a favor and put your wallet back in your pocket. Because what's going to happen is if you do it out of a spirit of irritation or feeling pressured or manipulated, you're going to carry that attitude in you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to carry that belief that the reason why you gave was because you were influenced negatively by someone to mismanage your resources.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. The reason why you gave is simply because the goodness of God and your gratitude in response to his grace. If it's not that, don't give, because you'll carry a bad attitude.
Right.
And at some point it'll make its way into the water. And once something is in the water, it's hard to get it out. Steve, any thoughts on just the hidden attitudes?
Yeah. I guess I kind of go back to, when you were mentioning the sales funnel, like we talk about, like, in order to get somebody to take an action or make a decision, like it's like 7 touch points or something like that. There's this subtle, like, okay, I saw it here, I heard it here, I saw a billboard, I heard a commercial or whatever. It takes a while to get somebody to do an action, and especially depending on like the community that is around you. Like if you have a solid community, then it might take you longer to do something that's outside of that community's norm. But if you don't have a solid community, then a lot of times, then you start getting these little influences, and eventually you're going to make a decision based on all of that input. And so, yeah, those hidden attitudes and actions are those like little things that, okay, that's moving me one step closer to the actual action. That's moving me one step toward doing something that would probably be counter my morals or counter my beliefs that I have held for a while, but those have been subtly chipped away over time. And so, yeah, I just think of like, it is kind of just little touch points that start moving you in a certain direction.
Yeah. Number 5, a church should have this conversation because Jesus is forming a family, not hosting a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And crowds can grow without unity, right? You think about a football game, there's crowd there, even though there's not a lot of unity there.
Yeah.
But a family cannot grow without unity. A house divided against itself cannot stand, all the things scripture says.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your guys' initial thoughts regarding the family conversation and Paul coming to the end and making it very clear in terms of being sons, daughters, siblings, and how that should shape the way we view church, participate, engage with others, the whole thing.
Man, the thing that I think is sometimes it's easier to be part of a crowd than to be part of a family. Like, even though the crowd isn't unified, like, I don't know, and maybe it's culturally, like, we're not, and I don't know, maybe just culturally we're not as focused on the family as much, and so we would rather be part of a crowd, because in a crowd you can kind of do what you want to do, like as long as you're not wearing the shirt, like you're like, oh, I can go stand with these people and like jeer at that quarterback or whatever, or I can like say that coach made a stupid decision because I wasn't really invested in either one, because I'm just part of the whole crowd. And it lessens your responsibility in the actions, because you're like, well, everybody was doing it, I was just one of them. But in a family, you can't get away from the responsibility for your part of the family. And not everybody wants that. I think we see that in church, where being called into family feels like a lot of responsibility and commitment, and people don't want to run that way a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people just don't, people don't want responsibilities. People want to kind of float around without any real buy-in. I think people wait to buy in until the really last moment. Like you think of bandwagon people, it's like, okay, you're going to watch all the games, but you're not going to declare yourself a fan until they're in the playoffs. Like, just things like that. It's like you pay so close attention and you care, but you don't want people to know you care until like that final moment, which is very odd. I think coming from also like a dysfunctional family, right? Like everyone has to be bought in to what the future of the family holds. One person can influence. I mean, like I have a huge story of redemption with my immediate family. But we didn't feel like a family until my parents bought into the fact that we were a family and going in this direction. And we still don't feel whole because my brother isn't bought in. And so everyone a part of this has to be bought in. And I think people are afraid of putting any time, money, resources towards something that they just don't want to feel any more responsibility than they already do. I don't know why we're so afraid as a culture to be responsible or to have responsibilities, but there's nothing better than also winning as a family. And so I think if anybody is listening and they're like, I don't know, like I'm just not fully there, like, but know that the desire in your heart to be fully there and to win as a team and to celebrate as a team and to like reach that final, I don't know, like just think like, say we're in the Super Bowl, your team's in the Vikings make it to the Super Bowl. So, like you want to be the person that was like, I was there from day jump. Like I was in it, and know that like we win together, we lose together. But ultimately like there is more support from people and families. Like if a sibling needs your help, if like you get support from someone else, like you don't have to do it alone. I think people are afraid of responsibility because they feel like it's adding more to their plate versus realizing when you join a family, you're not adding more to your plate. You're actually getting things lifted off your plate because there's more people to support what you're doing. And so, I mean, Jesus is so intentional with how unique this family model is and how special it is. And there's nothing unique and special about a crowd. You don't know each other. You don't know why people are there. And honestly, you don't usually care enough. But families care about you. They see you. They know you. They value you. Crowds, they don't see you. They don't notice you. They don't value you. And so the things that are innate, like in our natural desire, really can only be fulfilled by that family model, not a crowd model. And so,
yeah, I like the responsibility take. I think when it comes to why don't people get engaged and why don't people join the church family and begin participating? And I think on the surface level, some of the assumptions are, well, people are too busy, or people are maybe functioning with bad priorities, and they're all out of whack in terms of what they're giving their time and attention to, or people are greedy and that's why they don't give. And I'm sure there are different layers of those influencing everybody. Some would even be at a place where they're just like right now, they're kind of at a just shallow place in their faith. They don't place a weight onto their relationship with God the way they profess to actually.
yeah.
He's not Lord yet because they don't embrace the bride. But I would say, looking at deeper rooted issues, I think the responsibility one is just a real thing. People are managing a load. Everybody has something going on. It's like, hey, we're raising kids. I have a career. We got these health issues. Everyone has something.
Yeah.
And when you think about relationships, you just have to accept it's going to take some work. And how much work can I take on in addition to what I'm already doing relationally? So I do think there's that. The other thing, though, that I would say in terms of family is more rooted in the trust issues that so many people have. I think people don't want to take responsibility, and people really have a hard time trusting other people. And we've all been burnt. We've all been disappointed. And so what again becomes our greatest evangelistic tool is over time, not overnight, but gradually, as we consistently function in a way that honors God, people start to realize they're trustworthy.
Mhm.
They're humble people. They're generous people. They're thoughtful people. They're very patient. They reason well together. They're intentional about gathering and communicating consistently. They do it well. They're earning my trust. And I think every healthy family, or the health of a family, is dictated by how much trust is in the bank in this house.
Mhm.
And again, this is where I think having your family rooted in a church family is so important, because the church is the weight room. It is the place where your family is going, setting aside time every single week to practice and train in Christ-like virtue, also that the greater spiritual family that you're a part of can help shape the personal household family that you're a part of, and the immediate family members that you live with. And so I think better families hang out with better families.
Mm.
And that's a statement that I'm sure can be misinterpreted. It's certainly not to rank people. It's just to say people of standards, people of convictions, people of values, people of health. They just run together.
Right.
They run together and they approach it collectively. So, yeah, I think it's a great conversation for churches to have. We won't even jump into the list of 20. Too much time. But I do like the format. I'm excited to see how this turns out for anyone watching. And it's only a few of you. So while the group is small,
Hey, like 700 though. I mean, we've gotten a
It's
we've
more
done
than
all
11.
right.
Keep saying.
okay, all 700 of you, like, comment, share, however that all works. But let us know what in the content and in the conversation do you find to be most rewarding, or, a value add. So that concludes today's talk. Aubrey, Steve, thanks for freestyling with me. No idea what you were jumping into. Just, hey, meet me online. So thanks for doing so. I think this will only get better, and I'm excited to have you two a part of it.
Yeah.
Nothing but net.
Nothing but net.
Nothing but net.